Hello everybody, Danny and Wanda back from Pecan Grove. And guys, look back here.
Today's the big reveal.
Today is the big reveal, yes. Now the building still has a few more things that has to be done to it. But hey.
We're going to tell you what it's about.
We're going to tell you a little bit about it today. We are excited to have it to this point. Now it is nowhere near completion. Okay, we got a long way to go, but it is in the dry. That is what we were after.
And we didn't want to have to physically do it ourselves.
No, I couldn't do it today.
In this heat.
You take, like right now it's 92 degrees, heat index 101.
5:30 in the afternoon.
It's 5:30 in the evening. It's still that hot.
And the humidity is...
Now the humidity right now, the crazy thing about it, this morning it was 99%. Right now it's 47%. So
the humidity has dropped.
That's the only reason we're able to sit out here. It kind of reminds me of when I was in Mexico. It was 120 degrees almost, and I wasn't even sweating. And I looked at the guy, I was like, dude, how can it be that hot? He goes, there's no humidity. We was down to like 20-something% humidity there. So
that bird's coming close.
we're looking at this big old pileated woodpecker just flew over the top of it.
Close,
he was real close. But anyway.
So as you can see, we have a building, a really tall building with two sides.
First off, let me say this. Wanda and I, years ago, began setting funds back because we knew we would not be at Deep South Homestead permanently. As a matter of fact, we looked all over. We've told y'all before, we looked over several states for a place to purchase. Everywhere from Missouri to Arkansas to
North Mississippi,
Tennessee, Kentucky, Alabama, you know, all these different places. And we had good friends in different places that went and looked at the properties for us that we felt like we could trust.
But nothing, God didn't ever open a door.
Nope, God did not open doors. And the thing about it is, with what we know is coming in our future, we kind of felt like the Lord was telling us, we already know what it's like to live where we're at. Mm-hmm. For us to move somewhere totally different and with a different climate, different weather patterns, different gardening techniques and all this kind of stuff, it's not the time in life for us to be doing that.
Plus being away from family, even though we live an hour from any of our family,
yeah.
It's an hour. If we'd have moved different states, it would have been several hours.
Yes.
And so as we age, we kind of like to be within driving distance of family.
Yeah,
anyway.
We're not spring chickens anymore.
No.
You know? So when the Lord opened up the doors for us to be able to purchase Pecan Grove, we've told you the story. Wanda fell in love with it. I already knew about it. And
he just hadn't seen it as it was now. He saw it, what, 25 years ago?
25 years ago, I saw it while I was cruising some timber through here. And, you know, I was just like, Lord, is this it? And we got a confirmation from the Lord this was it. He opened the door. We was able to purchase it without no realtors involved or anything like that. And it was just like it was laid in our hands. And we knew that it was God's will because it was easy.
Yes. And we really, we fell in love with every aspect of the place the first day.
Yes.
And when we bought the place, we walked it. We still haven't walked every single inch of it.
Yeah,
there's a few little spots that we haven't been on, but there's reasons for that. But for the most part, we've walked most of it.
Yeah.
And Danny's made trails and he's fixed it. And we have steady since January 2023 been building infrastructure.
Yeah.
Fencing, remodeled the barn, redid the little white building, things like that.
The pump house, redone some things
put
on the
some
pump
wells
house.
down.
Put a well down, you know.
We've been doing all kinds of things that we knew needed to be done. Putting in gardens, the high tunnel, you know, everything that we can think of that would make our life comfortable as we transition to Pecan Grove.
Yeah, and this, what you see behind us here, this is part of the transition that we planned on. This has been in the making now for like 2 or 3 years or more, and we've been saving funds for things like this. And when the Lord opened the door for us to finally be able to find the right company to do it, everything's been really easy. The crew has been fantastic.
We want to give Anderson Building here in Wiggins, Mississippi, or Perkinston, I guess it's got
they're in Perkinston, yeah.
The people in the office are fantastic. We have been
they're Christian people.
Enjoying sitting talking with them. We purchased the first little building from them, is how we got to realize that they do these type buildings also.
Yes.
And we decided it's time. And you want to tell them what it's time for?
Well, guys, in order for us to transition over here, we have to have something in place before we can. You can't just up and move stuff and not have somewhere to put
into an open field.
Yeah, you can't just drop stuff off in the woods in an open field. Now, the equipment, yes, we've been doing that.
The barn is not big enough for what we need.
No.
It is for animals.
Yeah, the barn is nowhere near what we need for what we have.
The little white building is not big enough.
No. As a matter of fact, we've already packed the white building full. And it's mostly just gardening stuff. It's not really anything to do with my shop or anything. And
so you kind of just give it away, didn't you?
So we decided that this right here was going to be the new shop for me, to be able to put our equipment in and all my tools and stuff like that that I need.
Mechanicking, woodworking.
Yes.
He owns a lot.
Well, the thing about it is, at Deep South, the shop that I had at Deep South, it was half shop, half barn, half butchering room. It was
everything, milking room.
Milking room for milking the animals, and all this kind of stuff was all in one building, and everything's just cluttered. Over here at Pecan Grove, we knew we didn't want to get caught up in that again, so we've tried to isolate the barn up here, specifically for just cattle and feed and
chickens and
rabbits and stuff to that nature. The shop right here, my biggest problem at Deep South is I didn't have anywhere to get out of the weather to be able to work on anything.
His shop had a big door for him to go into, but he had so much lumber and tools and stuff in there that you couldn't even get in. You barely can walk in the door, much less get into mechanic on anything. And there was no room to move it anywhere else.
Right.
And so this is his dream shop.
Yeah, this is going to be my dream shop. I figure I've saved and saved and saved and saved, and I'm like, you know what? I might as well, before I leave this earth, have something that I've always wanted. And the Lord made it possible. And guys, I'm going to tell you, I'm sitting here, even though it's done, basically, except for a few things left to do to it. Now I have
on a walk around.
We'll take you on a walk around in a minute, but the daunting task is how to lay it out. You know, it doesn't have any electrical in it right now. It's all got to be power ran to it. It's got to be water ran to it.
No walls, no.
It has no. It's just 4 walls. You know,
and a roof.
And a roof up there. So now I've got to begin to figure out how to do the inside of it so that I can utilize it to its maximum capacity, because I don't want it all left just open. You know, I want to be able to utilize each individual part of the building to its fullest. I don't want to, if God give it to me, I want to maximize what the Lord has blessed us with here.
Yeah.
So it is a shop. For those of you who was wondering, you said a cabin, a couple of people said shop.
A barn dominium.
A barn dominium, all this kind of stuff. No, it's not that. And where most people make a mistake at is when they purchase a piece of property, they don't do the infrastructure. They just jump on it, and then they start piling stuff everywhere. And Wanda and I have just...
I didn't want it jumped up.
We didn't want to do that, you know?
And so in order for us to transition here, we need places to put things. You are going to be putting an extra...
It will have an well, it won't be an upstairs, but I mean
it'll be a storage.
It'll have a loft above it. Let me put that with. There'll be a loft in it.
And so we can put some boxes and stuff in there if we need to.
Yes.
The downstairs, like you said, will be all his equipment. The sides, it's going to turn into our farm-all barn, guys.
Yeah, the sides will eventually be closed in. It's just that right now, guys, funds are just not there to complete the entire task. Okay?
It's going to be a bit by bit now.
Yeah, from this point forward, it'll just be a step by step to get there.
We wanted somewhere to park the Rangers, the lawnmowers, the tractor, whatever we need, and by having roll-up doors on both sides, he can go all the way through. So that was his dream, is to have it where he could drive in and drive out either side. And that's the one thing they have to do tomorrow, is put the roll-up doors up.
Yes. Now, for those of you who were wondering what the other little building was, this is the come clean day, okay? The other small...
Not totally, but
not
maybe.
Totally, but the other small building that we had put on the property here is going to be a building. Lots of people thought it was a cabin. A lot of people thought it was this and that, you know.
Yeah.
But what we purchased that small building for, and I've been actively working on the inside of it. I'm a long way from having it done. And that's why we haven't been able to make a lot of videos, guys. I've been tied up with this crew here, working on the other building,
and gardening and
canning, all kinds of stuff. We just hadn't had the time to make a lot of videos. But that building will end up being a place where we process our meat at, because it needs to be a separate facility from the other buildings that we have, because there's going to come a day when you know who's going to want to inspect everything. So we're going to go ahead, and because I used to build this stuff for these butcher shops and stuff like that, I pretty much know what they're looking for. So I've decided to design the inside of this building so that if there ever was any inspections, it would pass it.
Yeah, at Deep South, the one thing is our butchering room is in his shop.
Yes.
Which was doubling as a barn, and right outside the butchering room was where the corral was for the cows. So if they had an issue with that, or dust or dirt getting into the room, we want to eliminate some of the things that we've figured out from one place to the other.
Yeah. So that's what the other building was.
All our butchering equipment will go into it.
Once we get it completed,
soon.
And we will show you pictures as we go along. We'll keep you up to date on what we're doing there.
Yeah.
It's just that, guys, I've been busting my tail trying to get things done. And now we're in the 100-degree heat indexes here already. And that means that in the middle of the day, I'll have to figure out inside projects that I can do in this shop or in that building with a fan blowing on me, because that's the only way I'm going to be able to stand this heat.
Well, in the little building, you did put a little air conditioner.
I do have
a 110 he could put in there, and that's made it bearable for him to sit and wire and things.
That's the only way I've been able to make it. I had the inside of it spray foamed, and that's the only way I've been able to make it bearable in there, is I put a little 110 unit in the window, and I've got it hooked to a cord so that I can keep it cool.
I'm watching Dolly going under that.
That's Candy.
Candy's going under a bush that's been over, and she's just pushing and shoving and just having her field day out here.
But we just thought, we'll take you on a walk around, show you some pictures.
And this is what this side of it, like our road is coming in around the fields.
Yeah.
This is what you will see if you came in
when you come in from one of our entrances. We actually have several entrances. When you come in from one entrance, you will actually see this end of it here.
This would be what you see.
Yes.
And the little building is this way, the high tunnel's here. So we'll go that way, and you'll get other views and show you, but a shop it is.
It is a shop. That it is.
You don't call it a dream shop?
I don't know what we're going to call it.
Farm-all barn? It ain't a barn.
It ain't a barn. This is not going to have barn attached to it. The barn is up yonder, over yonder.
We are not putting animals in this, right?
No animals goes in this one. I refuse to have an animal in my shop.
Well, that was one of the other problems, was he had the farm-all barn, and he had the farm-all in the barn with the cows, and he keep it dusty, and here he hopefully can.
That's the problem I'm having in this barn up here. It's in this barn up here, but the cows are keeping up so much dust and dirt scattered and stirred up that the tractor stays completely dusty and filthy all the time. And
he wanted it where he can keep it clean, wash it, put it up, and it's good for the next time.
Yes.
And so we've got lots of ideas.
Yes.
And we got works in progress.
A lot of work to do, guys. That's all I can say is moving and setting up infrastructure. We've been putting up fencing all around the property and everything.
Got a lot more to go.
I got a lot of fencing left to go. I spent the heat of the day yesterday pushing a fence row in a swamp back here on the back side of the property, clearing it for new fence to go up. We're trying to get our perimeter fences up around the whole 40 acres, and that is a chore because nothing has been done here in 25 years, and
Katrina happened during that time, so Hurricane Katrina did a lot of damage.
Done a lot of damage.
And a lot of the older trees have disintegrated and become dirt, but the fat pine lightard hadn't.
The fat pine lightard hadn't, and the bushes came up where they were not at, and I'm having to push and clear all those bushes out. We're sitting at right here was a jungle. A year and a half ago, you couldn't even walk through this. I mean, you'd have to tear your way through right here where all this building and all is. And we had Mr. Lance come in with his track hoes and dozers and clean out everything and leave all the pecan trees. I mean, they're sitting around us right here.
This is part of what he did do right here.
Yeah,
when
there
he
is.
did the barn, he came this way.
There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 pecan trees right here around me that I had him leave because they're spaced out pretty evenly.
Yeah.
And one day, hopefully, all these will grow up and make beautiful trees and have pecans on them. Now, I may not ever live to see it, but somebody will be able to enjoy all these pecan trees here at Pecan Grove. Now, this is nothing compared to what's on the property. There's hundreds of them on the property.
And the reason I named it Pecan Grove is because the first time I walked it, I was over by the old pond. Well, it's the pond now.
It's the pond now.
It was old and not very deep, and it was all growed up, and there was bushes everywhere. Danny's cleaned a lot over there.
Yeah.
There were just trails that you could walk, and I walked through, and I saw a pecan tree about this big around, a little bitty pecan tree there. And I looked and I go, Danny's always wanted pecan trees. Hey, there's at least a small pecan tree. And I got to looking, and there probably was 4 or 5 in that little area. There was a pathway through there, and those trees were there, and there was a lot of just junk trees everywhere. And so when I told Danny, he says, really? I said, yeah, because he didn't walk with me that day.
No.
And I said, if we buy this property, it's going to be called Pecan Grove. And he kind of laughed because of it, but once we started really looking, there were pecan trees everywhere. I did not know that day that there would be hundreds of pecan trees, and some of them gigantic.
Yeah.
So that's how come it became Pecan Grove.
Yes.
So let's go walking.
Let's go walking. We'll show you guys what the building looks like. Okay, this is the end wall of the building here. We have 2 10-foot lean-tos, one on each side of it. We have an entrance door on this side right here with a roll-up door on the other end down here. Okay, this is another angle view of it here as we come around.
And what is the size?
The size is the concrete slab part is 30 by 40 with 2 40-foot lean-tos on each side, 10 foot deep. This is what we was telling you about the drive-through I put in it. I'll have 2 roll-up doors on it, one on each side that's identically across from one another, so that I can pull something in one section, work on it on the concrete, and I can pull right out the other side and keep on going.
Or if you have 2 vehicles, you can come in either side.
Yes, I can do it either way, yes. Now we're on the back side of it. This is the shaded side. You can kind of get an idea. We made the back and the front identical to each other so that it wouldn't be too hard to figure out where everything needs to go in it. But you can see it's...
looks tall there, don't it?
It's 20-something feet to the top of it up yonder. Okay, guys, this is the other side of the building, which is completely identical to the previous side that we just looked at. Of course, you can see in relation to where the shop is as to where the greenhouse or the high tunnel is in the background back there. There's one of the pans around here. You can see where we were just sitting at around there, filming the front side. And then when we look back, the high tunnel is on the right-hand side here. Okay. All right, as we come in, you can kind of get an idea here of the size and what it looks like on the inside in here. I can tell you how high it is. You can look at how there's 3 sections of scaffolding set up there, and they don't even go all the way to the top of it. So,
all right, the door to come in.
Yep, it's over to the right-hand side there.
And then you're going to start planning out what's going on this end.
On this end of it, I will begin to plan out. This is a 20 by 30 on this end right here.
To the roll-up door?
Yes, to the roll-up door.
And then from the roll-up door,
there's a 10-foot bay where the roll-up door is, and then there's a 10-foot bay on the back side of the roll-up door that's also 30 feet across. So we've got to decide where and how we want everything in here so that we can maximize the space that we have here. Now, of course, the part where you drive through where the roll-up doors is, there won't be anything going there. That will just be an alleyway through here where we can go and come through here to be able to work on things. Okay, guys, this is how things are in relation to one another here. We have the room here that we will be using for our processing of meat. Now, it will have a porch built across the front of it, a little deck area with a roof over it. And around the bottom will be covered in. Won't have to worry about that. And then we have the shop in the background, which matches. It has light stone metal on it with a black roof, black trim.
And white doors.
And white doors with the high tunnel to the left-hand side of that. The older
tree.
Yeah, the older we get, we decided that we wanted things close in proximity to one another so that we didn't have to do a lot of walking when we went from one place to the other. All right, guys, we invite y'all to follow us on our journey from Deep South over to Pecan Grove as we make this transition. And I mean, look, we have things like our Vego beds. We've already tried to lay these things out strategically. And the only way you're ever going to figure out what we're doing here at Pecan Grove is to subscribe to the channel. It's Pecan Grove MS. It's not just Pecan Grove. Pecan Grove MS. You should be able to find it really easy. And Wanda and I are going to be mainly filming and videoing here at Pecan Grove from this point forward, because Deep South, as we've already told you, we will be transitioning from there to here. Deep South at some point in the future, might be a year from now, I don't know, will be sold to someone else to be able to enjoy for their future, because Wanda and I is going to be turning Pecan Grove into our retirement place. We just don't know how long it's going to take. It's a big project for two people our age to undertake to do, and we've only been owning the property now a year and a half, and we do things as we have the finances available to do them. We're not going in debt. We do not believe in going in debt. So, guys, follow us on our journey and see what the Lord can do if you step out on faith and follow Him. Thank you, guys, from Pecan Grove.